Ah, there it goes. Hey y'all, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Wow, can I just say my eyebrows are looking crazy today? Maybe maybe it's just the coloring of it. Let's see. Gotta make sure that the video in the background is not going on at the same time. Okay. Happy Saturday. As I said before, today in Montana it is around 5:20 p.m. I think one of the most fun parts about doing lives and finding other people on AuthorTube is seeing where they're from and like what time of day it is for them and you at the same time. I've noticed that there are a lot of Americans that are on AuthorTube. The main places I've seen people on AuthorTube is Australia and America. I don't know what it is about Australians and Americans where we just really love to write things. There should be like some sort of study of why those two areas. I don't know if I should wait for people to come on, but that's okay. You could always watch it later. That's the fun thing about lives is that even if no one shows up, people can show up later and like it. Hi, anyway, this is the second live that I am doing. It's definitely haphazard. I was going to do it at 5 and then I lost track of time, so I pushed it to 5:30. And then I was ready earlier than I thought, so I pushed it to 5:20. So that's where we are right now. If you're wondering what these glasses are, they're meant for blue light. I wear these glasses anytime that I look at a computer screen or I'm trying to, because I get migraines a lot, and they're often affected by too much blue light. So if my eyes look a little bit wacky, then you know why. It's been half a minute, and I'm surprised at how many people have watched the first live that I did because I'd never done one before. And I feel like it's a lot easier to do lives with people because you bounce off of each other rather than doing one by yourself. But I think that this is good practice for me to get used to myself and being on lives and stuff like that. So a lot of people have said that I'm good at lives. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we're just going to have fun with it and it's going to be good. I keep on seeing me looking down and trying to figure out what else to say. I have a pretty low attention span when it comes to watching lives, so I understand why people usually don't watch lives because usually they're like 2-3 hours long, especially for AuthorTube. So this is an opportunity for anyone out there, if you are watching this, if you eventually start watching this or if you watch this later, to do a little bit of a sprint. The main purpose of this, of course, is to plan out Preptober posters. I did a video of this previously, I think 2 weeks ago. I know I've been slacking on posting videos for this channel. I'm not going to explain why. It's always interesting because people always say on YouTube like a bunch of different things like, oh, yay, Bethany's here. I'm out for a live concert thing. I want to say hey. Oh, well, thank you, Bethany, for saying hi, even though you are at a live concert. That is dedication. I'm glad that I've got a good friend that'll watch my live for a second. But that's okay if you can't stay because you can always watch it later. Once again, this is like meant to be like a sprint and also planning out posters. So whatever you want to do with this, you can do it. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought initially of what I was doing. Oh, where a little while back I made some plans for Preptober, which I've actually never done before. I've never been involved with Preptober, so I've kind of had to do my own thing, figure out what works for me, and I figured out that something that could work for me was making it kind of fun, you know, like not making it so boring with planning a bunch of stuff. So this is the original poster that I made in the video where I did a bunch of like fast-paced stuff. And you can see some things are checked off. Well, let me see. I can't tell where the camera is. Hang on. Okay. Yeah. So there are a couple of things checked off, but there are some things that aren't. No, it's kind of hard to see the ones that are checked off, and I haven't been keeping up with it very well. But it's been interesting throughout this process of how much my goals have changed since I initially planned them out. I have been keeping really good track of the NaNoWriMo outline that I was doing for my story. And actually finished it early. So now I don't know what to do for Preptober, which is going to be the fun part of trying to figure out week 2, because I literally already did a third of my goals within like a super short amount of time. And I would love to kind of like go over what to do when you hit your goals a little bit too early, especially for NaNoWriMo, and how I have been dealing with that. Okay, so moving on to what goals I initially started with. At the end of the first week, I wanted to introduce conflict into the NaNoWriMo story. I wanted to have there be a moment where it's kind of like a make or break situation. And I had 5 days to do that. So I feel like I accomplished that since I finished the whole entire outline, which is nice. Also, I'm sorry that the table is shaking. My laptop is not steady at all. And I wanted you to see my pretty desk. So that's how it's going to go. I've also already cleaned out a lot of my computer, like all sorts of stuff. I'm like, oh, I've done it. Like, what else is there left to do for Preptober? But I wanted to show you the strategy of what I did with my first posters so that you guys can have an idea, maybe if you haven't accomplished your goals yet, to do that. So basically, I split it into 5 days. I decided to split it in 5 days because I wanted to give myself a little bit of a cushion. I am currently working 2 jobs, and in total, those 2 jobs, that's about like 12 or 13 hours a day. I usually get like a 2-hour break, and that's split into like an hour each. So I have an hour lunch for one of my jobs, and then I have an hour in between my first job and my second job where I can kind of have like a little bit of room to breathe. So there's not a lot of time to write. I try and squeeze in as much time as I can, but it's, excuse me, but it's rough. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a cushion of 2 days where I haven't planned anything, just in case maybe there was a goal that I didn't achieve within a day, or I wanted to switch things around, that I would have the flexibility to do that. Once again, you don't have to do that, but as you can see, week 1, the last day is day 5. This is also going to be interesting because I don't have the freedom of using my my camera. So, okay, yeah, so day 5 was the last day that I was going to do anything. And if you watched my other video, I am very distracted all the time. The other part of my Preptober stuff that I was doing was I made 3 goals. If you saw my other video that I did about these Preptober posters, I kind of explain a little bit more in depth about what those goals are. So I'm just going to go over them super briefly. I'm not going to go into detail like I did in my other video, but you can basically see them at the bottom. I put all of the main goals at the bottom. Where's the camera? There's the camera. Okay, so number 1, oh, it's happening. Number 1 is clean out my laptop so that my engine can run faster, because my laptop is super old from college. It's in rough condition, but we're gonna use every drop of it that we can. Number 2 is complete the outline for Loud Love. I wanted to do it what is it called? 5-step grid style is how I am kind of doing outlines right now, because I've never done outlines. So I figured that if somebody else could put together an outline for me, then I could start with that, see if it works for me, and get a little bit of practice in that. I want to also complete the first chapter of Escape the Safe House final draft and post it to my website, which you can find at jasminepassi15 .wixsite/betareaders.com. I don't have too much on there yet, but that was one of my goals, is to get that on there at the end of the month. But the problem is I have basically already like super finished that chapter. It's really only the major details that I have to go over, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I split out my Preptober into 3 main goals that I wanted to do. So every day I did one thing that would accomplish each of those goals. So I would be doing 3 things each day that would be consistent with writing, no matter what that project might be. That's the thing that I wish that other people knew, was that just because you aren't actually writing the draft of your story, it doesn't mean that you can't do other things that would also be helpful and should be considered writing, like outlining should be considered writing. And honestly, even like doing research and thinking about your story in depth a little bit, even if you don't write anything down, I feel like it is worth it. And I feel like that it is really valuable to do that type of stuff. And I wish that authors were told that more often. Uh-oh, looks like I taped 2 posters there. Anyway, okay. So we basically have accomplished, or at least I've accomplished everything throughout this week pretty well. I'm also doing the weeks a little bit different where I'm not doing October 1st to October 7th, just because that's going to be way too hard to keep track. October 1st was in the middle of the week. So I am just basing it off of the first Monday of October to the last day of that calendar week. I'm going to count that as week 1. So now that is why I am starting on week 2. Okay. Okay, please go away. There we go. So this is what week 2 looks like, and I still don't know where the camera is. There we go. That's what week 2 looks like. And Bethany is always so great. Let's see. That's the wrong one. She's been doing great comments. Okay, this is the one that I was looking for. Being artistic and organized. That's very nice of you to say. It's been fun for me, and I feel like for those, I mean, most writers are pretty creative, but I know that there are a lot of writers that are a little bit more logical. So honestly, whatever works for you is what will be good. I figured this would just be a way to kind of show you what I do and see if that works, just trying different things. Once again, first time I've done preptober. I don't know what I'm doing ever. So what I'm going to do is I am going to copy down what I already have on this Sharpie. I actually found the black Sharpie. I can't believe that I found this. I knew that I had one. The last video I had to use like gold Sharpie and it barely showed up on the page, but it showed up enough. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I've never actually done a timer before. I'm very new to live, so this is just me messing around with stuff. Okay, looks like I can do this. Okay. So I think the screen is sharing. Wait. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to have to try the timer for another day, but I will set a timer. And yes, Bethany, I have done NaNoWriMo before. Last year was the first year that I did NaNoWriMo, and I wrote a story called Your Not So Local Girl Gang. And there are 5 characters in it. They're all basically the main character, which was an interesting practice for me to do, because you don't see that in a lot of books and it's really hard to juggle all those characters. It's definitely still within its first draft, but that is also something I wanted to do in December, was edit that story along with the other story that I am going to be working on this month, which is called Loud Love, and it is a romance. It's going to be the first time I'm really diving into a romance type book. I have opinions about romance. I love romance, but I don't know how I like it as a genre by itself. Every single adventure book that I have read usually has one bit of love interest in it, so I like that. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is going to be a learning experience for me. I had this really fun, thing set up for like a timer. Oh, wait. Did it work for like a second? Tab. Hey, wait a second. Did I do it? Okay, I think that is working. Hey, we did it! I'm proud of myself. I'm so stressed. Okay. Okay, so I have, oh, it's really unsettling that I can't see myself. Okay, so I don't know what these timers are, but they look really fun. So I'm gonna set the timer for 15 minutes. Once again, you can do whatever you want with these 15 minutes. I'm gonna be doing this a couple of times. I think I'll do it like one more time while I do my thing with my posters. Feel free to sprint your own stories with it, do a little bit of your preptober of however you would like to. You could also pull out a poster for yourself. And once again, go back here. Once again, the way that I am planning them is by week. Each poster side is like 1 week. And I'm splitting it into 3 different things I want to accomplish within that time. And I'm having a goal each day. So that's 3 goals each day in between 5 days. So, oh, yeah, even Bethany can hear me. Yay. Okay. All right. And timer starts now. Right? Okay. Start. cool little sound effect. I liked that. Okay, that was really fun. I'm gonna do that from now on because I like that a lot. Fun, yeah. I liked that Bethany said even though that she's going to be away, she will see what she comes up with brainstorming. That is a dedicated author right there. She is the OG. She always shows up. All right, so I'm going to show you what I have. This was trickier this time because I didn't, well, I'll just show you. Okay. This is what she looks like now. Big difference from when you saw the poster last. I wrote down the main goals again just so that I can keep myself on track. Really make sure that I'm looking at the big picture. Okay, so day 1, there is another conflict portion that I want to figure out in this love romance story because obviously when there's not conflict, it's just not very fun, which has actually been kind of tricky inside of a romance to try and find conflict because I feel like the conflicts in romances are so little and silly, but when you have them in real life, they're like a huge deal. So having that, making that a part of the outline, which I've actually already done. I wrote part of this outline beforehand. A lot of it is scheduling. I did a lot of scheduling for Escape the Safe House stuff, trying to figure out some programs like Scribus or things like that for formatting a book. I know a lot of people like to see if they can hire someone to format a book, but in my personal opinion, I think that it would just be easier for me to do it because I already kind of know how to use that software. So I'd rather do it myself rather than have someone else do it, and then I can learn another skill. So that's a big thing with the computer. Also, I don't want to download another program until I get everything cleaned out. So that was basically a lot of week 1 was cleaning out a bunch of stuff on my computer, which I did quite a bit of, but I would like to be more specific on certain things, especially the press releases that I wrote when I was in college. I want to try and rewrite those or put them on somewhere else. I've actually been really good about getting rid of stuff though, because now my Google Drive is finally not 98% full. So that is a big one. I also want to figure out cover designs. I think that would be really great as well. And once I got to I believe it was day 4, my goals shifted because at that point, I think that I had already kind of overdone things of how to finalize my trilogy at this point in time. The trilogy is more of a marathon, so there's really no way that I can get everything done at once. So I gave myself the grace of putting down another goal, which is finish my short story, The Woman of the Mountain, before NaNoWriMo, which I think is realistic. I am almost done with it. I kind of got to a point where I needed to do some more research, and I really just didn't want to put in the time and effort to do the research. But once I did, it is going along really swimmingly. I'm on the 4th chapter, and each chapter is about like 7 pages long, and there are not very many chapters. I'm almost considering making it a novella, just because it is a pretty good story, and I think that it could be fleshed out a little bit more and enjoyed, but I'm not sure if it'll actually hit the word mark. We'll see how it goes. Let's see, what else is on here? Okay, and once we got to day 5, it got even more vague. Since I've already accomplished all of these different goals in such a short amount of time, I'm kind of running out of ideas. So this has been a learning curve for me for sure, is because I know that if I write them down, at the very least write them down and put them up, my subconscious will be thinking about them a little bit more. I'm not sure if this is something that I am going to do in later years, but I think I would like to. So that is the finished project of the second poster. And I'm really surprised that I was able to get it finished in 15 minutes. That's all the time that I did for the timer, and I thought I would need 2 rounds. So this is very interesting. It's always a weird feeling when you get things done way faster than you initially thought. But I honestly think that can conclude the video. I think that there's still a lot for me to learn, a lot that I can do throughout this month, and I am super excited for NaNoWriMo. Now that I am doing this, like I feel like Preptober has given me a reason to be excited about NaNoWriMo rather than dreading it, rather than thinking that it's a lot of work. So this works for me. Well, thank you for those who joined the live, and thank you to those that will watch the live later. I hope that you will take this opportunity to use this video for, and Bethany's back right as I was about to clock out, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm really glad for those who joined live, and I would highly encourage people to watch this live later if they ever are in the middle of writing and they don't feel very encouraged or just motivated to write. This will give you a good reason to sprint. Also, I hope that I gave you enough information about how I do my coasters. I'm gonna actually, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stand up. Well, I know I'm in all, don't judge me, I'm in all blue. It's my favorite color. There she goes. Oh, of course. Okay. So here is what the poster looks like. That is the finished product. Obviously, you have your main goals right here. You've got your week. I'm planning on using the back of this for another week because we don't want to be wasteful. And I've already got one checked off, so that is a good feeling. 5 days, so that you can give yourself some wiggle room. 3 goals, 1 goal each, or 1 thing to accomplish the goal each day, which is 3 goals. That's enough. I feel like I should like write down a layout somewhere else, maybe on a website. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, whatever you are off doing, and sayonara, you guys. And I will see you next week because I actually will post my videos this week. Because I really need to and I want to get back into it. All right.